Friends, Dr. Murphy, I'm going to try in some stories that have to do with philosophy, theology, psychology, technology, you name it, okay? So I'm trying to explain universalism, and I use what I call Universal Book Club. So this new book, Open Socrates, The Case for a Philosophical Life. Now, I will share with you How to Be Perfect by Michael Schur, some stories about Dr. Fred Platt, who died 3 years ago, and my mother-in-law right here, who may be dying today. All right, so back to this one. This reviewer notes, but she also allows that thinking about life isn't necessarily guaranteed to yield the knowledge one seeks. Socrates used to say that he knew nothing other than the fact of his own ignorance. Words of wisdom from this famous philosopher. Now, How to Be Perfect is the book I recommended. It's by Michael Schur. It is great. It reviews the history of philosophy in a very truthful and humorous way. That's what the Guys Book Club will be covering later this month. Dr. Fred Platt, author of Conversation Repair, was an avowed atheist. He was so sure there was no God. And then at our last book club meeting at his home in Longmont, Colorado, this was maybe 9 months before he died, he said, you know, Don, there is something to this talk of God, because we had been discussing this for the last 30 years. And what happened at his memorial service here at the Denver Museum of Natural Science is that we heard stories of where Dr. Fred Platt was overcome by the power of something before he died, with his family at his bedside, medical aid and dying. And the stories from the hospice nurse were just amazing. He was overcome by the power of something greater than him. He felt the presence of God, whatever that felt like. It was not, as the philosopher Pascal claimed, Pascal's wager. Oh, I'd better believe in God or I'm toast in hell. That wasn't the case at all. I've taken care of more and learned more from my agnostic friends about God than I have from those of organized religion. So, for example, I know that the dogmas of organized religion push people away, but then towards the end of life, short of a sudden death, God overpowers them. God, in a sense, saves them. So we universalists believe that all of us are going to heaven. God did not create any of us to destroy us. There's this fascinating stuff here in this book on Socrates. Now, this author, Agnes Callard, went through the hell of a divorce. And she still believes that we think our way through these things. We rationalize our things. No, we don't. We feel. It's called grief, okay? And so there are a couple of ways of knowing. Well, there's a number of ways of knowing. One is through emotional intelligence, where you feel things. I've had so many religious experiences, supernatural experiences, you name it, epiphanies, that I can count. And so have all the broken people of the world. You just have to hear their stories. So last night, I wasn't just thinking about my mother-in-law, Eileen Grace. I was grieving. And, you know, the fact that I'm not there to say goodbye to her hurts me. That's just not the way I roll. I've been able to be at the bedside of both of my parents, other relatives, friends who have died. And this time, my wife, Sue, is with her mother. And that's a good thing. So back to this book. Many books teach us that, well, let me just say, God works through all authors. And I would say all reviewers. I mean, it's amazing, the words of wisdom, the eternal truths, the history lessons we learn or relearn just in reading one book review. That's it for now.